Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, and with me, as always, my partner in time and my partner in crime, Jesse Jackson.
Hello, Charles. I'm ready to party like it's 2008.
It's 2008 all over again.
Yes, that is a sly inside joke to the agenda Charles sent us.
Yes. And I should point out this is the actual Jesse Jackson, not that other Jesse Jackson that everybody and their brother seems to confuse him with on the Twitter, because every time there's a hullabaloo, then poor Jesse, our Jesse, everyone's Jesse, gets all this crap unnecessarily, and then now he tries to persuade everybody to go to Next Stop Everywhere and check out our podcast, which is awesome.
I do,
but I do see the only downside is that I see notification after notification after notification.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how many people do not take the time to realize that at Jesse Jackson DFW is not that other Jesse Jackson?
I am so glad you brought this up, Charles, because, okay.
It has to be driving you crazy.
I have not an icon, I have a photo
Right.
of my very white guy face. I have DFW after my name. And if you look, it's a call center guy. There is nothing about it. And I just know what they're doing. They're just typing at Jesse Jackson.
That's what I'm thinking. They're typing at Jesse Jackson, and they're going for the first one that comes up.
And
I totally agree.
I will say that this latest batch of people have been more polite.
That's good.
Yeah, because most people, when I correct them, when I send wrong Jesse Jackson, I'm a podcaster, check out Next Stop Everywhere. A lot of times I say I'm the Jesse Jackson obsessed with Doctor Who and Bruce Springsteen. I always try to make a funny joke. Mm-hmm. And most people just ignore me. But almost everyone in this has apologized. And actually one guy sent me a direct message and said, I'm really sorry, I should have caught that.
Yep.
And I said, no problem. He said, I'm not a big fan of Bruce Springsteen because of his politics, and I've really not gotten into the new Doctor Who. And I said, you should join us on the podcast and talk about why you hadn't gotten on the new Who. So I'm pitching, Charles. I said, and we can do a Bruce Springsteen podcast about why you don't like Bruce's politics. So he didn't respond.
Yeah, you're working it, so I give you credit.
Yes.
Maybe you should try changing your Twitter handle to DFW Jesse Jackson.
And for the longest time,
reverse it so it doesn't come up in the search.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Because for the longest time I was JWJ 170104. Right. But as we started doing more podcasting, I wanted a Twitter handle that was like you're at Charles Skaggs.
Right.
And so,
see, I was lucky enough to jump on Twitter early enough to I could grab my name. So, and there's thankfully not that many of me.
Yeah, I was like, there is not a controversial, shall we say, religious leader that. So.
Thankfully, I don't have that problem, but I feel horrible for you because I know that has to be frustrating. It would drive me insane. So I just want to offer my sympathies.
Thank you, Charles.
And all right, so let's move on to the actual Doctor Who stuff. Sorry, everyone, but I think Jesse needed a little catharsis there.
I did, and I appreciate it, my brother in Doctor Who-ness, because that was great.
All right, so today we're going to do something a little different. Instead of going back to the classic Who, We're heading back to the Big Finish audio adventures, and some of you out there have actually been requesting that we cover more Big Finish. So shout out to you guys for who are big Finish fans. But today we're going to talk about Technophobia, which is the very first 10th Doctor audio adventure from Big Finish Productions. So how great is that? The Big Finish is moving into the modern era, aka the Jesse era.
Yes.
And that David Tennant and Catherine Tate have thankfully come back to reprise their roles as the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble. And we get 3 adventures, at least for now. I'm not sure if there will be any more on the horizon. Hopefully there will be. Probably when their schedules open up, because I have to imagine they're both pretty busy.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Tennant is at the very least very busy. So it's great to have these, and we're gonna cover these 3, and I'm looking forward to talking about these with you, Jesse.
It felt like going home again.
Are you excited? Are you excited about it?
I really was, and I have been on the record that Donna is not one of my favorite companions.
Right.
But as we have revisited her, I have gotten.
Is the ice starting to thaw a little bit?
Yes, it is. It is.
Good.
I don't know if she will ever be one of my favorites, but I'm no longer rolling my eyes.
You can at least tolerate her now.
Well, I also see not even tolerate. I think you enjoy what she is, and what kind of companion she is. And there was back when they did I'm going to draw the blank, but the Comic Buyer's Guide, the guy that used to do that, Maggie's husband, I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh, Don Thompson.
Yeah, would say the
late Don Thompson.
Yes. For those of you who like this kind of thing, you're going to like this kind of thing.
Right.
And for those of you who like Donna Noble, you're going to like Donna Noble. Right. And I will just spoil this right away. This was just awesome. And I don't know, sometimes a sample size can be misleading, but every Big Finish you've sent me has been really good. So I don't know if that's just the quality of the shows they do, or are you cherry picking ones that because my taste, and you're like, okay, yeah, this one is. So I don't know which it is.
I do try to go for the bigger episodes, but this was just, it's the very first David Tennant audio, so I'm just like, we got to cover this, right?
Absolutely.
So if it turns out great, that's just a happy little coincidence.
Yeah.
And now, Big Finish, to their credit, they do a lot of great productions, and I'm pretty sure you would enjoy a lot of these Big Finish audios.
Yeah, I think so too.
You may not enjoy them all. I don't enjoy them all, but that for the most part, they do some very excellent productions.
Absolutely.
And if you're not a Big Finish audio fan, I heartily recommend checking them out. You can check them out on bigfinish.com. You can get a lot of downloads that way. And then there's other Doctor Who, merchandise sites where you can, Amazon.com, you can get them if you want to get the CDs.
And go ahead and give your plug for your. Not that we don't have.
No, it's not mine, but
but
it's just my supplier.
Yeah, your supplier. That's what I'm saying. Because that they're giving us any coin for the podcast, but
you really should, because I plugged the hell out of it.
You do.
So they really should, kind of, at least float me a free CD once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Who North America, WHONA.com. That's where I get my fix of Big Finish Doctor Who audios. I recommend checking those out as well if you can't find them otherwise, anywhere else.
You should reach out to them to say, hey, I do a Doctor Who podcast. Can I get every once in a while some review copies? Because we will talk about them.
Right. Well, That would be nice, but
Yeah.
I don't. That would seem even shameless for me.
No, no, not at all.
No,
I
I
think
don't know.
that's
I
good.
wouldn't feel right working
Okay.
that. I know a lot of people do try to work that, I'm
Yeah.
sure, but we'll see. If someone wants to hook me up, I would not say no.
Well, what's nice to know is that Charles spends his hard-earned money. Now I do.
Hmm.
He lends me the CDs
Right.
so that I don't necessarily have to buy them, but it's been
Well, I like to
awesome.
be able to review them, and
Yes,
so
exactly.
and I own them, so they are purchased.
Yes. Um, so Charles, why don't you tell us a little bit
Yeah,
overview and the
yeah,
background?
let's get into this a little bit. So Technophobia, this is, like I said, this is the very first 10th Doctor audio adventure. And how great is that? Um, it's written by Matt Fitton and directed by Nicholas Briggs, who, if you recall, the last time we covered Big Finish audios with the War Doctor, he handled that very first War Doctor set, wrote and directed. So here he is directing once again, and of course he's the voice of the Daleks on the television Doctor Who. So and does a lot of the Dalek voices, of course, for Big Finish. We got some guest stars in this, including Nikki Wardley, who plays Bex. Now, you wouldn't be familiar with her, Jesse, but if you're a Big Finish audio fan of the Eighth Doctor Adventures with Paul McGann, she played the companion Tamsin Drew, who was one of the companions that the Eighth Doctor gives a shout out to in the Night of the Doctor.
Yes.
So she plays a role here. Um, and then she was also in the Five-ish Doctors, I found out. The Five-ish Doctors reboot.
Oh, really? Do you
Yeah.
know what she was
Uh,
playing?
no, I don't.
Okay.
So she might have been playing herself as a cameo or something. So it's been a while since I've watched that. So I'd have to really uh, do a little digging about where she is in the Five-ish Doctors reboot. And then, go ahead.
No, we we should do a episode of
Oh, there's Captain Kirk chiming in.
yes, we should on our list of things as we produce on the air as we usually do.
Hmm.
Um to maybe cover some of these one-off specials an
Right.
episode. I'd love to talk the Five-ish Doctors with you.
I think that would be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
And
Basically
if
it would
anything else,
be
it would be great to watch that again because unfortunately they didn't include it on the season, with the 50th anniversary disc.
yeah,
So which I think was a huge mistake. I
I
don't know
think so too.
what they were thinking because you had to get like this big deluxe Blu-ray set to get it,
Yeah.
and that kind of annoyed me because I'd purchased most of them already. So I
Yeah.
wasn't going to spring for a whole another set, but
Yeah. I
just to
hear you.
just to get the Five-ish Doctors. But okay, that's an aside there. We also had Rachel Sterling as Jill Meadows. Now you may remember her as Ada Gilliflower in the Crimson Horror. She was
Ah.
the blind daughter of she's actually the real life daughter of Dame Diana Rigg,
Okay.
who a lot of people may know from Game of Thrones
Right.
as the Queen of Thorns.
Yes. And
Yes,
boy,
so,
just how
which
awesome was she this season?
exactly. So she was
Yes.
also in Diana Rigg was also in the the Crimson Horror,
Hmm.
but her daughter Rachel Sterling plays Jill Meadows here,
Yeah.
and then we had an actor named Chuck Siptane. He plays Brian. Now he was in the episode The Waters of Mars.
Ah.
He played Tarek Ital. So
Hmm.
I think that was one of the crew members aboard Bowie Base One.
Yeah.
So I think he has a role here, and he also played Mark Grantham in the Sarah Jane Adventures episode Warriors of Kutlak. So just a
Nice.
little trivia bits, but so we actually have a pretty decent cast for this very first 10th Doctor audio.
Well, I always think everyone does a good job, but it
Hmm.
is impressive, Charles. They've got some skins on the wall,
Yep.
and kind of neat that they had them back. I do feel like Big Finish said, okay, we need to go big or go home, right?
Right.
Because this is such a great person,
Hmm.
so we'll need to do that. Okay.
Yeah, because up till now the most we had Paul McGann was essentially like the newest Doctor in
Right.
Big Finish Audio, and then of course John Hurt came along, and he's like Doctor 8.5, the War
Yes.
Doctor. So he was technically the newest, but now David Tennant. If only we could get Eccleston, but Eccleston being Eccleston, I wouldn't hold your breath for it.
Um, and
Yeah. I'm sure he's a lovely man,
I'm
but
sure he is, and I don't know what's gone on and what's behind the scenes.
mhm.
Um, it would be great to get because
Eccleston's Doctor, especially with only that one season.
yes, we got so few chances to
Yeah.
talk
Mm.
with him and visit with him. I would love to see him, to see what he did, and especially because you could
Mhm.
do episodes before he met Rose,
Right.
that because we don't know anything about it,
Well, they
and
kind of
so
hinted that when the War Doctor regenerates, he picks right up uh,
okay,
in Rose. Like when he
oh,
looks in the mirror, and he goes, "Oh, look at the ears."
okay,
So the question is whether, was there anything before he met Rose, or was that just him recently regenerated?
yeah, I don't
So
know. Good point.
yeah, it's been it's very nebulous whether that was his first adventure, the Ninth
Right.
Doctor,
Okay.
but there are definitely like you could always have like gaps where like say maybe if you didn't have Billy Piper, it would be great to bring back Billy Piper as
Yes,
Rose. How great would it be to have Eccleston and Billy Piper?
it would be very good.
So,
Yeah.
but maybe someday.
Yeah.
But I mean, we didn't think Tom Baker would return, and here he is. Tom Baker ended up doing Fourth Doctor audio adventures. So anything's possible, I guess.
Yeah.
But I would if I was a betting man, and occasionally I am. I
Yes.
would bet that we'll see Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor in Big Finish audios before we see Christopher Eccleston.
Um, we
I
need
would
to,
bet.
yeah, we need to talk the rumor, right, about down when we finish this about Matt being the Doctor again.
I don't buy that rumor.
Okay. You,
We could just cover it quickly because I don't buy that rumor.
okay.
There's a rumor going on that that Matt Smith really misses Doctor Who, and some fans have speculated that because his Hollywood career has not taken off like it should, thanks to the box office failure of Terminator Genesis,
Yes.
of which he's in it like maybe a minute.
Right.
So, I don't think that was the problem, but I think it's just, maybe he's just not finding the roles that he was hoping
Hmm.
for in the States. So I think he's expressed an interest in, coming back to Doctor Who, or at least that's the rumor.
Yeah.
So they've been speculating about whether the Doctor at the end of Series 11, or
Yeah.
excuse me, at the end of Series 10 or something would somehow ungenerate,
Yeah.
and we would go back to the 11th Doctor somehow, which I'm thinking is kind of weird in itself. Why not just tell untold tales of the 11th Doctor?
Right.
Because there were plenty of times where he's traveling solo.
Yes.
So just like, oh, okay, this was set between
Hmm.
these episodes. But so I'm not sure. It seems a little dubious to me.
And I have no problems, and I
Yeah,
promise we're going to get back to Technophobia
yeah,
in a minute.
yeah. We got a little
Yeah,
digression going on.
I have no problem if they decide to book, um, you know, Arthur Dorval, Karen Gillian, and Matt Smith to do a series of,
Mhm.
movies that
Right.
untold tales of the 11th Doctor, as you just said. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that would be cool. That would be fun.
Why
But
not set Matt Smith's Doctor up as the big screen Doctor?
yeah,
Like the motion picture Doctor, like you said. Like okay, maybe Peter Capaldi can't do it because he's busy shooting the television show.
Yeah.
But why not have Matt Smith's doctor
Right.
as the big screen doctor?
Yeah.
And then he's happy because he's getting movie roles.
Yeah.
And everybody wins.
Right.
But
all right.
maybe that just makes too much sense.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Okay. All right. So anyway, we'll get back to
Charles
this.
is on record that Matt Smith's not going to come back. I am on record saying I don't want him to come back as the Doctor as a new incarnation of the Doctor.
Yeah. I'm all for Matt Smith returning as the 11th Doctor.
Yes.
But I don't want him to be like an unregenerated or, regenerated Doctor. I just want him, because the Doctor should always be moving forward.
Absolutely.
I feel. But, if Matt Smith, say, wants to return for the Christmas special.
Yes.
And we're going to have 2 Doctors in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome to me. That works for me. But
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
all right. Let's get back to Technophobia.
Apologize for the segue.
We kind of went down an errant time tunnel in the time vortex there.
Karen should be playing her little blurb she always has about.
Oh yeah. From iZombie from Blaine. Yeah. What is this bizarre segue?
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So anyway, can we maybe stay on point?
Yes.
Yes. David Andrews is Blaine from iZombie. All right.
Yes.
So let's get back to our discussion. All right. So the first I want to talk about is the Matchstick Man with the Plan, the return of the 10th Doctor. So Jesse, since the 10th Doctor is your Doctor,
yes,
how geeked were you to listen to this audio?
I was actually a little timid.
Okay.
Because can you go back home again?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be everything you want it to be? And also, as much as Donna is growing on me, she is not my favorite companion. Like if you had said, hey, Martha and, the 10th Doctor are going to be in an episode, I would have been, ooh, I can't wait to hear Martha again. But it is beautiful to hear him in character.
Right.
And the smart aleck comments, the at side, talking about a supernova. It's a long story with several pairs of shoes, and just he's smug, but not in a Capaldi way. We got to hear several of his, character lines, defining his brilliant and I'm sorry, and he offers the villain a chance, which is, I think, really, in my mind, one of David Tennant's Doctor's, go-to moves. Like,
right. Remember, no second chances.
Right. So, I just, what's not to love, Charles? I mean, this was just awesome.
Now, it's been a few years since we last saw Tennant as or at least heard Tennant as the 10th Doctor, because he was obviously in the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor.
Yes. So
did you think that he lost anything in these past few years? I mean, it's only been a few years, but do you think, I guess a better question is, do you think his Doctor translates well to audio?
What's interesting is
without his hair being all sticky,
right,
and running around like a hyperactive bunny rabbit.
The guy who does the 2 Minute Time Lord podcast
Right.
was not very complimentary about this episode.
Hmm.
And I, now that I've heard it, I need to go back and listen to him. I mean, he said that it felt like a different era, and that was his biggest concern. You
Well,
know,
technically, it is a different era.
right,
It's the David Tennant era.
right. But I I don't, to put it in a sports analogy, he had
Hmm.
he had lost nothing on his fastball. I
Nice.
think, he's smart. He's the smartest person in the room, and he's quick to figure out. He's arrogant. Oh,
Hmm.
I would have figured it out if I'd had a 3 more seconds.
Yep.
And there was the dialogue of the modern era, and we've talked about this. In the classic era, there isn't as many quips. There are some,
Hmm.
but there isn't as many as this, especially Tennant and Smith, and even Capaldi. Um, and it was just good to hear that again.
Okay. Fair
How
enough.
about you? Now,
Now, I thought that Tennant translated very well to audio. I know that David Tennant's done a couple Big Finish audios in the past, before he became the 10th Doctor.
okay,
Various minor roles. But, I knew he was able to do it. I mean, he's obviously a gifted actor.
right,
So I didn't foresee any problems with him in audio. I think Catherine Tate is talented enough. I wasn't concerned about her either. And we'll get into her in a
right.
minute. But, so yeah, I was looking forward to it. Now, my only concern would have been, would the script do his doctor justice?
Yeah.
And I think in this first audio adventure, it does. It's a pretty simple plot,
Hmm.
and we'll discuss that, in a little while. But it's a pretty straightforward story, and I think it's good because you don't want to focus so much on this big convoluted plot in this first audio adventure. You just want to give fans what they're looking for. The 10th Doctor and Donna Noble back, and they're trading quips, and that's really what you're looking for in this first one. And I think it carries off really, really well.
Yeah, and it's, in a lot of ways, it's a pretty simple story, and
Yeah.
which we've seen many times, not just in Doctor Who, but in literature and fiction. Technology going
Right.
amok, and in this one, it's kind of the anti. But it, I think I've told this story before, and if I have, I apologize. But Penn Jillette was on a cooking show, and
Hmm.
they had to pick a food, and they were doing wings, and a lot of people picked exotic wing flavors, and he said, I'm going to do a traditional buffalo wing. And the judges said, the problem you have setting this up is
Hmm.
everyone knows what a buffalo wing tastes like. And
Right.
if you miss it, you're going to get taken off.
Dinged. Yeah.
Yeah, dinged. But you nailed it. You had just a classic, great buffalo wing. It was just the right flavor and everything. So
Hmm.
I think the same thing. If you're going to go with a very classic story, if you don't execute it well with the personalities and the strong supporting cast, you could go, well, that was kind of a whimper.
Right.
But because the cast is so good, because the dialogue and their back and forth, and it's moving along,
The pacing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just great. I just think it was a wonderful story.
I do too. I do too. So I don't know what the 2 Minute Time Lord was thinking,
Yes.
but we think differently here.
Yes.
So we're a contrary opinion on that.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about 2016 being the new 2008,
Yes.
as you seem to enjoy.
Yes.
The return of Donna Noble. So now here, this is Catherine Tate, Jesse's least favorite companion. I don't think I'm
No, I
stating.
think that's fair.
You think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, so with Donna
Modern
being
companion.
right, right.
The
Okay.
guy we just saw.
Adric.
No, not
Or
Adric. Well, Adric was pretty bad, but the
Turlo.
guy who was the one we just saw in the Davidson.
Turlo.
Yeah, Turlo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. With Donna Noble being your least favorite modern era companion.
Yes.
What did you think of Donna in this story?
She was amazing.
Yes.
I just,
Victory.
she went shopping. The jokes about being a Temps United. Temps United was just a great line. She's giving grief to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
At one point he says something about, and about I can't stand people who know everything, and she's looking at him like, and they even and what's funny is it's an audio, but you can tell in that silence what's happening, and then she does say something out loud.
Your imagination just kind of pictures
it feels
it
exactly
in your head.
Yes, and I love the shtick that people always, oh, are you okay? No. I mean, they so quickly.
We're so not a couple.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. That was a nice little nod to their era because that was kind of one of their running gags.
Yes.
Was that everybody would confuse them as a couple, but
Donna
was adamant about that.
She was engaged, and she, helped solve the problem. They separated, and she had her own little adventures with Bex with an X. Right. She was good. It was great to hear.
So do you think Donna as a companion, or at least Catherine Tate playing Donna?
Yeah.
Do you think her character works better on audio than on TV?
Maybe a little, or maybe just in the writing. This, sometimes she would, and I think I felt like she would complain a little too much or a little too whiny, and I think it's just getting used to that tone and her thing. Because we've talked about it in some of the rewatches we've watched. I've said, got to tell you, Donna Noble didn't bother me. So, I think
you think that maybe it just that general first encounter with Donna, just kind of jaded you. So now that time has passed, you can look back at it more fondly.
I do, and I also think that it feels really bad to say that's your least favorite modern companion. Hello, Next Stop Everywhere fans. Here's where we get a little timey-wimey. We're making a point about Donna being my least favorite modern companion, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means I like other companions better. However, our recording stopped, and Charles and I continued to have a 30-minute conversation without realizing the conversation wasn't being recorded. We got together the next day, so here is the second half of our conversation, and you will hear us, as you can imagine, make a few comments about re-recording our thoughts. Okay.
And we're back.
We are back.
And I have your camera now.
Yes. I while you were going, I unplugged my USB and replugged it.
Okay, all right. And it worked.
It did. And I know. It's just like, oh.
Skype, you can suck it.
Yes. Okay, so I am looking,
Okay.
and it says
Yep.
recording a
Yeah.
call.
I have a microphone. The recorder seems to be recording from the mic or ready to record from the microphone because
Okay.
I'm all right. So really quickly, let's start.
Yeah, exactly. All right, ready? Three,
Yeah.
2, 1.
All right. So now let's finally talk about my thoughts on Donna Noble
And
as
it
as we fall victim once again to the evils of Skype. Skype.
This is so timey-wimey because we've had a discussion and we went all the way through the end of the episode and it ended up crashing halfway through. And we
Yes.
just lost Charles's photo again. So,
Well, we'll see what
okay.
happens.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go to audio too. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go to audio.
Okay.
Okay. How's that?
That is great. Okay.
Okay. Let's go over that
All right.
because apparently Skype is having conniptions.
All right. So we're going
All
to
right. So anyway, yeah. So for those who don't know, it's been 24 hours since we last finished our thoughts. So let's get back to talking about Donna Noble. Okay, Donna. Um, I was really happy with Catherine Tate's return. Obviously, I was much more of a fan of Donna than you were, and I think that's primarily because I was a fan of Janet Fielding's character Tegan back during the Peter Davison era and because she had a much more abrasive personality and was willing to get up in the doctor's grill and not take his crap and call him on his usual nonsense, call him out on his usual nonsense, not just roll over like the average companion.
and I totally agree that's it. And if you're not used to that, I also think now that we've spent some time with her, and I especially, you see behind his back, she has his back. She's very much, she believes in him. She has faith in him. She knows he's good. She's just never going to tell him that.
Right.
Yes, which is okay.
That is, yeah, it's good. So, yeah, and that's kind of one of the things I like about Donna. And I'm glad to see that you're at least, if not just outright liking her, that you're coming to appreciate her as a character.
Absolutely. And I'm going to apologize if we're repeating stuff, but she's really grown on me. I really like her, and I I love them together. You
Hmm.
know, there is something about and I love Rose, and Martha was my favorite companion, but the more you look at it, the yin and yang of Donna and this 10th Doctor really works. There is enough comedy, but there's some drama. It's pretty good stuff.
I think so. I think so. All right, so let's move on to the cognoscenti and their stupid machine. Now, the, as Doctor Who villain plans go, I have to say this was a pretty good one.
Yeah. So Charles, why don't you just for our listeners explain, why, what's their plan, what they're doing, and then we want to talk about the genius
Right.
of the naming contention or, of
Right.
their weapon
Right.
of doom.
Yeah. Now the cognoscenti, that of course implies the word cognizant, which means awareness, grasp of what's going on. So it's a nice little pun. I get it.
And
I see what
it's
you're doing, Matt Fitton.
yes, and it is a this is a new villain as far as you can tell, right?
Yeah, yes, they haven't appeared in any other Big Finish audio adventure before. I think they've got potential to return at some point. They even have their own little catchphrase. They have to say, they say, to in like in one of the uh, uh, recordings to that Jill Meadows hears. She hears, we are the cognoscenti, you know nothing. So either they're really good, like really big Jon Snow fans
Yes.
from Game of Thrones, or they've got their own little catchphrase. So it's like, we are the cognoscenti, you know nothing. So, which also could be like, well, you know nothing now because we made you stupid,
Yes.
or just you know nothing. Period. So
I
I
liked
liked
it.
it.
Yeah, I liked them a lot. I thought it was as you said, a really good plan.
Hmm. Yeah,
To go ahead, go
let me
through the plan.
yeah, let's just real quick. I mean, it's a very simple plan. And it's simple and it's elegant in its simplicity. I think
What
is
is
that
the line from Middleman?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay,
I didn't watch Middleman.
okay. Continue, and I will
Okay.
bring that up.
Okay. Well, basically, their plan is instead of just outright invading, like say the Cybermen or the Daleks do, just coming in their spaceships and blasting the crap out of stuff. The Cognoscenti are much more devious with their invasions. Um, they decide that instead of like confronting people or like other alien races outright, they decide they have this ability to lower the intelligence and lower the technological grasp or technological skills of their prey
Yes,
but with through this machine that Donna Noble so perfectly refers to as the stupid machine
yes.
because it's a machine that makes you stupid, and apparently it's a stupid machine.
It that is so genius. There is such a pun there,
Hmm.
and such a, it's the stupid machine, which is a stupid machine. It's
Exactly.
absolutely so.
So yeah, so they'll make you stupid, and then
Mhm,
once you're unable to even like work a pencil, as we find out
right.
with poor Jill Meadows,
Hmm.
um, they just can just waltz right in and take over, and it's you're obviously not able to give any resistance because you're so technologically inferior at this point
Right.
that you're just easy pickings.
Yeah, I wanted to share. First off, its sheer elegance in its simplicity
Hmm.
was the iconic phrase used in Middleman. By the
Okay.
way, Middleman is the show creator actually said that he was trying to do an American version of Doctor Who.
Okay.
So we may need to go explore that later. During this long summer of
Right.
but any
We could just add that to the list of things
yes,
we've been talking about, like
right,
digging into.
right. So anyway, I wanted to share a story with you, and our listeners haven't heard it. You have, so you know
Right.
where we're going. I'm listening to this show at work. It's on my iPhone, and the chapter 6 finishes, and,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden I start hearing piano music, and I'm going, wow, they're going to do a subplot that people are going to forget how to play musician. We've shown them they've forgotten how to use their M-pad. They've forgotten what a ATM is. They're scared about an elevator or an escalator. Now someone's going to forget a piano. That's a really cool subplot.
And you totally bought into it.
Oh, I did. I'm just like, and I'm like, wow, they're really going along on music. And all of a sudden I realized that my phone had hit on shuffle, and I had gone to an acoustic Bruce Springsteen show. So I was like, darn it. So I go back to section 7 really quick and made sure that my shuffle was turned off. But I was buying into it. I'm like, hey, what a cool thing to show, the different ways they're doing things.
Would it be rather rude of me to ask you if you fell victim to the cognoscenti stupid machine?
I don't think that is foolish at all.
Okay,
Oh yes,
yeah, you and that shuffle option have had trouble in the past,
yes I have.
especially when it comes to Big Finish audio. So
If you
yeah,
don't remember, the first time I did a Big Finish audio, the phone was stuck on shuffle and the chapters kept changing. And I'm like, this story isn't following a very linear path. Well, it's Doctor Who, go with it. And, so
but that is just funny. I
that
love it.
is
All
awesome.
right, that is great.
Hmm.
All right, so obviously the doctor um, figures out what's going on.
Yes.
He confronts the cognoscenti, but by this point he's lost his intelligence, and he's basically struggling um, to keep his thoughts, to be coherent, and to confront them. He's falling prey to the effects of infrasound, which is essentially like it's sound below the lower limit of the human audibility.
And so, Charles, I did not catch that
Yeah.
the first time I watched this.
Or
And
listen to it.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that tells you how good this is. I'm actually thinking I'm watching because
Right. Well,
in
you're
my
watching
mind,
in your mind. You're watching it.
yes.
Yeah.
So um, go through the on a re-listen.
Okay.
Um, you did a really good job, and I promise. No, I'm not going to promise. We're going to continue talking about last night's episode discussion because I'm like, oh, he should say that again. But you went through the different stages that the doctor went, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, basically, what we kind of get a glimpse at first of what happens to the doctor when he's playing around with the M-pad and he's not. It starts malfunctioning on him, and you start to think, oh, maybe it's the M-pad. That's something's wrong with the M-pad. Okay, but then the sonic screwdriver starts malfunctioning on him, which when the sonic goes, then we're in deep trouble, obviously.
Absolutely.
So, but again, you think, okay, it's the sonic. But as the story progresses, um, the doctor ends up taking Kevin into the TARDIS because he can't scan him with the sonic screwdriver because he can't work it. So he takes him into the TARDIS and he tries scanning him, but then all of a sudden his mind becomes overwhelmed, probably because of the TARDIS's technology.
Yeah.
And at that point, the doctor realizes that, oh, it's not the Sonic after all, it's him.
Yes.
So,
and
then you're like, oh crap, the doctor's been affected by this.
And when he's talking to the cognoscenti, um, that's a great typical 10th Doctor discussion. He's almost, and like when Matt Smith was in Let's Kill Hitler, the physical comedy he was doing,
right.
This was vocal. And once again, I've already talked about this earlier, but the doctor and Donna so well.
Their mannerisms.
You can picture this in your mind.
Yeah,
easily.
Because the doctor, Tennant's doctor, he exaggerates so much, and he's always flailing about. He's always in motion.
Yes.
So you can kind of picture him like, rubbing his hand through his sticky uppy hair and, like going, oh, of course, that's it. It's not me. Or it's not that sonic screwdriver. It's me. And
we're like, well, and there is so much joy and charm in there.
Yeah.
So yeah. And when he kind of, oh, hello, brain.
Yes.
And fuzzy there.
Good old brain.
Yeah. Oh, very nice.
Like that?
Yes, that's very good.
That's my David Tennant impression. Hope you liked it.
A little fuzzy, but now we're back, and it was just really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once the power gets, they affect the machine, turn the power off, then everybody's intelligences start coming back. And just in the nick of time, of course. So the doctor takes advantage of this moment by...
what does he do, Charles?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't say it, but he reverses the polarity.
Yes, he does!
of the stupid machine, but he ends up changing what he calls the psionic signal to cognoscenti brains.
Yes.
So therefore, when they turn on the machine, they're the ones affected, not him or Donna or anybody else. So the cognoscenti start losing their intelligence, and they start panicking at this point, and they start getting freaked out a little bit by the technology. So they're like, okay, we're out of here, bye. And they turn on their whatever their dematerialization circuit, for lack of a better word,
Right.
and to dematerialize out of the London Underground, but because they can't work it properly, they end up destroying themselves in the
Yeah.
process. Don't.
And we got a classic Doctor giving them a chance to
Yes.
surrender
Right.
before bad things happen.
And you really enjoyed that. You really, I think that's one of the things you mentioned that is
I,
one of your favorite things about the 10th Doctor.
I do.
But
And
no second chances.
no, but I just love when he does that.
And that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gives you that one chance, but yeah, if you don't live up to it, then you're fair game as far as he's
Yes.
concerned. Okay, so anything else you think we need to cover?
Well, it was just it was so good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
I think um, I re-listened, and we did not end up recording this, but I re-listened to the 2 Minute Time Lord assessment of it, and he actually loved the episode, but he felt mixed up because as much as he loves Capaldi,
Mm-hmm.
it felt weird to be going backwards to these other modern era. And he said, and what stopped him was, and I thought of this, the theme music. And
Right.
you mentioned that one of the things that the Big Finish Audio has done is
Right.
they always give that era, like he
Yeah,
talked about.
they try to make it feel more like the era
Yes,
that the Doctor is from,
yes,
and in this case, this is from like they used the theme music from Series 4,
yes,
Murray Gold's theme music, but it has a little slight variation
yeah,
from say the 2006
yes,
version when Tennant started. So it's a little bit different, and
yeah,
obviously I'm a Doctor Who theme junkie.
yes, you are.
I have all of them on like an MP3, and I listen to them over and over again because I just it's my favorite um, science fiction, you know, TV movie,
Yes,
whatever theme ever. So so I noticed the subtle differences,
yes,
but you may not have because it is a slight variation.
yeah.
And but I appreciated the fact that they took the time to actually go back to Series 4 when Donna Noble was on the show.
Absolutely. And I so it was great to see them back, and I'm you know one of the things that um at times can be very upsetting
Hmm.
about in our fandom is especially Doctor Who of how protective or that's the wrong word, but selective about, well, Tennant's my doctor and
Right.
or
Well,
Smith is mine, and the old man would never work, or
I think territorial is
territorial
probably
is the perfect word.
yeah.
And like you and I,
It's my doctor, not you. You
yeah,
know, you
yeah,
got your doctor. I've got my doctor.
yeah, and
Yeah.
my doctor's better than yours,
Yeah. Exactly.
and
Everybody thinks their doctor's the best.
and and that's what reminded him of this. That's why Skip was that emotion on him bothered him more because he that came up to mind with that. So I
See
want to make
that,
sure.
and that's kind of sad to me because
Yeah,
that means you can't go back to previous doctors after, like since you're in love with the current one. That
yeah,
seems like such a waste.
it is, and that's what he was sad about. He said it made him feel. Normally with Doctor Who, he gets all involved in that world, and him thinking of someone may not be able to enjoy this or be especially happy, like, oh, here's finally the real Doctor Who is getting new adventures.
Hmm.
One of the things you've taught me, and Ken has taught me, and take a drink, and
Okay.
Neil
I'm
Gaiman,
drinking because you can't see
yeah,
me on cam right
yeah,
now.
and Neil Gaiman has talked about, right, that the joy and the sadness of Doctor Who, and it's mostly the joy,
Hmm.
is your doctor retires,
Right.
but you get a new doctor.
Hmm.
And unlike saying, I will always love Mark Waid's Flash run, And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if anything will ever be better than that. What you can do is it's just different.
Right.
And let's enjoy that differences. And that's why, as much as I love, Babylon 5 and Star
Mm-hmm.
Trek and all these other science fiction shows, there's something about this 50-something-year-old, was it, we're up to 53?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, years? Yes.
yeah,
We'll be in November.
yeah. That it it reinvents himself, and it's fresh each time.
Right.
But that doesn't take back from going, and especially, I loved watching, our latest Davison episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love hearing the Big Finish audio,
Right.
when we've had the Three Doctors. So
Yeah.
I think
That's
that's the
that's
sweet.
that's yeah, that's kind of the one of the things that frustrates me about fandom
Yeah,
is that, especially with Doctor Who fans, is that, they get so wrapped up in their own doctor that other doctors don't matter.
yes,
Which seems very, I mean, it's frustrating because it's like you don't have to stop liking your doctor to enjoy another doctor.
yeah,
Just it's just like, you have a favorite uncle,
yeah,
but you may have more than one uncle that you
right,
like.
yeah,
And or, like you've got a best friend, but you've got other friends as well.
right,
You like them,
yes.
but doesn't mean you don't have your best friend. Takes nothing away from the best friend, but you can still have other friends, right?
And I also think the beauty of this is looking at how, for example, Capaldi has made the role his own, yet
Right,
connected to the other ones.
right.
And and I had talked about, I've been very, I had an open confession
Mm-hmm.
earlier that I never got Eccleston, and I
Right,
couldn't understand why anyone would say that's their doctor till we rewatched a couple episodes, and I went, "Oh yeah, I totally see it now."
right.
In fact, in a lot of ways, I think if you're going to rank the doctors, and we don't, but you
Mm-hmm.
could almost make the argument in the modern era, he's been the most important because he had to sell all this history to a brand new audience
Right,
and satisfy the previous audience.
right. And then and that's also kind of like in comparison to William Hartnell in the classic era,
Yeah,
because Hartnell was the one who started it all.
yeah,
He was the first doctor. He's the one who invented the role.
right,
Over the course of those like three and a little bit, couple of story seasons,
right.
um, he made it his own. But it wasn't that other doctors couldn't follow him. And Patrick Troughton obviously had his work cut out for him because, well, he's the first replacement doctor.
Yes.
So he had to show that it was okay to be your own doctor, and that's okay. And it doesn't take anything away from what William Hartnell did. So when I hear fans going on about it, I'm just like, you know, you don't have to be so childish and possessive of your doctor that you can't appreciate another doctor.
And to put it in terms of music, just because you love, Sting's first solo work or his work with the Police,
Right.
how sad is if you don't, well, I don't like his new stuff as much.
Right.
And you may not, but to go, I think if you're a fan, you're going to go,
Hmm.
I love hearing this and trying this. That doesn't replace that, you might have a favorite album or a song,
Hmm.
but, you know, and also you can sit there and say, well, I'm not sure if this episode worked. And we've done that with Capaldi. We've done that with others.
Right.
So, anyway, thanks. I just really felt that, and it was interesting to hear Chip. And then I know you and I have that. We have talked about this a lot, and it's just true. You, they're unique, and each of them kind of brings something special.
Right.
And I think you focus on that special magic they bring, and it's not a competition. It's just enjoying that role and what's going on.
And that's kind of one of the things it's not my primary goal, but one of my goals
Yeah.
in the selection of various stories for us to review here on Next Stop Everywhere is that I try to not just focus on one doctor.
Right.
Unless we're recovering new episodes.
Yeah.
But as we go through, like previous episodes, let's go, okay, 1 week we'll do the 11th Doctor, 1 week we'll do the 10th Doctor and the 9th Doctor, so on and so on.
Yeah.
So we can actually, sample the various eras and just kind of, not just get so focused on one era or another that we can kind of have the whole smorgasbord
Yes.
and or a la carte and just enjoy ourselves.
And
Pig out
yeah,
on everything, not just one little tiny dish.
and I really just appreciate, and
And I'm not sure
how
why I
much.
went to a food metaphor, but I did. So
No,
there.
it's true. I don't want just one thing. I want to taste it.
Yeah, I want to
So
taste everything.
yeah.
So, yeah. Why not?
So getting us back on track.
Yeah, let's get back on track. So if there's nothing else,
Yeah.
and let me move on to favorite quotes.
So Charles, one of the things that makes this feel like a freshly laundered sheets in a bed that
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if your parents used to sun dry the sheets and everything, and there was that feel of
No, we had dryers for that.
okay,
Okay, at
yeah,
least while I was growing up.
yeah. So, but that feeling of comfort. I'm slipping in
Right.
my favorite pair of jeans or whatever your
Yeah.
thing.
Or it's cold outside. Maybe you can't appreciate that being in Dallas, but
Yes,
for those of us here in Ohio,
absolutely.
and during the wintertime, it's cold out, and if you get a nice fresh set of sheets out of the dryer
Yes.
and put them on the bed, or if you put on, all right, like pajama bottoms right out of the dryer,
Yeah.
and they feel so warm and comfortable and comfy that
And so the doctor and his snarkiness, and
yes.
Donna and her snarkiness,
So
it was like coming home again.
like a warm blanket right out of the dryer.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
So,
Got it. Yeah. In that it's like comfort food. To
mhm.
go back to another food metaphor,
Yeah, absolutely.
we're kind of all over the place with the metaphors.
It is.
All right. So do you have any favorite quotes or
Um,
favorite snarky comments from the doctor?
yes, and something really odd is happening. You know what? I'm usually having more fun when something really odd is happening, and this is really odd.
That's a good one. I was tempted to use that one, but go ahead. You
And
got any more?
he gave us some sorry, I'm very sorry, which is one of his classic lines.
His catchphrases, yeah.
Yes, and
The
you had
apologist, the tenth
yes,
Doctor.
and didn't you have the we talked the line about the supernova?
Yeah, I've got that. So
Okay, good. Okay.
okay, so it's a scene where the Doctor's talking to Donna Noble, and he makes the comment, "Last time I saw anyone that jumpy, they were standing on a supernova." And Donna's like, "A what?" The Doctor replies, "A long story involving several pairs of shoes." So I thought that was cute.
That was very good. What else you got for us?
Also got um, when they were in the Technological Museum, Donna makes a comment, "But it's just stuff in a museum." And the Doctor replies, "Oh, you'd be very surprised how much trouble stuff in a museum can cause." Because obviously he's run into several dealings with like alien creatures and whatnot, robots, what have you, in museums, such as the Space Museum, which was a William Hartnell story. So we got
Yes.
that. I like the part where Donna is serving coffee to everyone except the Doctor. And she goes, "Here, coffee's easy when you know how," being all smug that she worked the coffee machine.
Yes.
And the Doctor replies, "Where's mine?" And Donna responds, You're the last person I give caffeine. Oi, Sylvie, search ADHD. I bet his picture comes up."
That's awesome.
Which is a great put down by Donna.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because essentially the 10th Doctor is like this hyperactive bunny that just won't sit still, and definitely ADHD. And then I have one more line I liked. Uh, the Donna's trying to explain what's going on in the London Underground. She goes, "There are things down in the underground, Doctor. Alien things." And the Doctor replies, "That's the way with alien things. They do love a tunnel."
Yes, that was great.
Yeah. So, so what was your rating for this story?
I'm so happy. It was so good to have my Dr. Tennant back.
Mm-hmm.
I loved hearing him and Donna Noble together. This felt like a episode that they could have had, like
Mm-hmm.
for a season premiere, because
Right.
you kind of want to reacquaint with the characters. So I am going to give it 9.5 shiny dongles.
Nice. Oh, I love a dongle.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I give it. I left a little room because as much as I enjoyed this episode, I think we can even do even better. So I only gave it 8.5 out of 10 stupid machines. But so that by no means that I hated this episode. I actually loved this episode, but like I said, I want to leave a little cushion for future episodes.
I understand that. So, Charles, in the most redundant, unnecessary question that I ask each episode, do you have us a reverse the polarity for us?
Yeah, you might as well just say, "What does this do, Doctor?" All right, so yes, I have a reverse the polarity segment. This time we're going to go back to 1968 with The Web of Fear. And this was the fifth serial of season 5 in 1968, written by Mervyn Haseman, and I was in the 1970s, the slight future from the time period, obviously, just a few years ahead, inside the Covent Garden Underground Tube Station in London. So here we have the London Underground. Sounds familiar. So we've got the second Doctor, Jamie, and his companions, Jamie and Victoria. They find the station deserted, with London appearing abandoned. And they learn the crisis was caused when Professor Travers, who is this guy they met in the Himalayas some 30 years earlier in a previous story called The Abominable Snowmen, accidentally caused one of the Yeti to be reactivated.
Ooh.
And which opened the way for the Great Intelligence to invade again.
The Great Intelligence?
The Great Intelligence, yes.
Haven't we seen them before?
Why, yes, we have. In the episode The Snowmen or The Bells of St. John recently. So, if you're a big Great Intelligent fan, you can go back and check out this story, find out, his earliest confrontations with the Doctor. Which
Very
is why,
nice.
So it's a little connection there. And then they end up encountering army forces led by none other than Colonel Lethbridge Stewart.
Ooh.
The future Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Nicholas Courtney in his first appearance in the role on Doctor Who. And they end up battling the alien menace in the underground. The Doctor later appears to submit to the Great Intelligence, however, and he places himself inside a pyramid-shaped machine that the intelligence intends to use to drain his mind. Yeah, where have I heard that one before?
Yeah.
So there's this mind transfer going on, and as the transfer continues, the Doctor resists Jamie's attempts to rescue him from the device, but Jamie ends up pulling the wiring out of the pyramid, which sets off a chain of events which causes the whole base to explode.
Yeah.
And so the smoke clears, the dust settles, bad guys are defeated for now, and the Doctor's kind of despondent at Jamie and the others. Turns out, though, that his plan was that he had altered the circuits so that instead of the intelligence draining his mind, he would have drained the intelligences.
Nice.
And Jamie mucked it up.
How often, right?
Yep. Jamie! But but if he hadn't, then we wouldn't have the Great Intelligence coming back, so. Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
If you want to check out the first appearance of the Brigadier, you want to check out the Great Intelligence, you want to see a really great story from the Patrick Troughton era, check out the Web of Fear. Highly recommended.
Very cool. Nice.
Yep.
So, Charles,
Yes.
where can people
Jesse.
find you?
Well, first, shouldn't we talk about what we're going to talk about next time on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast?
Yes, we should.
And we are going to talk about Time Reaver, which I actually have right here in my hand, but
Yes.
you can't see because we have our cameras down.
Yes.
But we're going to be talking about Time Reaver by Jenny T. Colgan, who's written some Doctor Who novels. But so we'll see what you think of that. It's got Dan Starkey in it.
Ooh, nice.
And it's got Terry Malloy, who played Davros, but he's not playing Davros here.
Okay.
And so we've got that. And we'll see what you think of that one.
Good. Very nice.
It's the second in our 10th Doctor audio series from Big Finish Productions, which, if you want to check it out, listen to it, you can go to bigfinish.com and download it.
Sounds awesome.
Yep.
Very nice. And
so now you can ask me where to reach me.
Where can we reach you, Charles?
You can reach me all over the place. I'm at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, Facebook, of course, my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about Doctor Who, Next Stop Everywhere, and all kinds of geeky stuff. Just posted like all the geek TV shows that got Emmy nominations earlier today, so I got that uploaded, including Tatiana Maslany for Orphan Black. So yay!
Yes, that is awesome.
Much well-deserved nomination as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, I totally agree.
And so I talk about that, and Google Plus for all you crazy kids in the Google Plus.
Shout out to Karen.
Shout out to Karen. So you can check us out there. And Jesse, where can they reach you?
I am at Jesse Jackson DFW, as we've already discussed, not the Reverend Jackson.
Yes.
And I am also on Facebook, Jesse Jackson, and you can reach the show at Next Stop Everywhere. On Twitter, is that SMG as well? NSE?
Yeah, Next Stop SMG on Twitter. And then Next Stop, is it Next Stop SMG or on Gmail, or is it okay, so it's
no one ever says it's Gmail.
Next Stop Everywhere at gmail.com. Yeah, so, but you can reach us at the Next Stop Everywhere Facebook page.
Yes, you can.
As well.
All right.
But so if you got any questions, comments, things you think about the show, give us a like on Facebook. That'd be great.
That would be.
Or follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
At Next Stop SMG, so that you can keep up to date on what we're doing and all the other things that we share about the show.
An iTunes rating and review would not hurt our feelings.
Yeah, that would be great. Please tell your friends about us. If you've got some fellow Doctor Who fans, you enjoy the podcast, hopefully, spread the word. Let them know that we're out there, because we can't do this without you.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate everything you do, all the downloads and all the attention you give us, because we do this for you guys too. So
we do.
So we need your help to spread the word.
We do. Charles, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. It was actually double the fun this time.
Because we did the second half all over again.
Yeah, and it was a totally different second half.
That's how it works.
That is how it works.
Hopefully for the better.
Yes, I think so. So I've got a quote for us.
Okay, what's your quote?
I just want you to know there are worlds out there safe in the sky because of her. That there are people living in the light and singing songs of Donna Noble. 1,000 million light years away. They will never forget her, while she can never remember. But what for one moment, one shining moment, she was the most important woman in the whole universe.
Heartbreaking from Journey's End.
Giving a little love to
Donna. Now I gotta go find a tissue box. Damn you, Jackson.
All right. We will talk to you in a couple weeks. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.